What's going on, everybody? JanoBen94 here. Welcome back to Ben Builds. This is episode number 3 on the Bomber Command Buddy build, the Airfix 1/72nd scale Whitley. And I'm really excited to go ahead and really start dirtying things up, putting parts together, and getting this thing looking great. Now, we have to do a little bit of painting here on the cockpit, like this red-brown here. We have to use that for leather backing for the seat. We have some dry brushing paint here, some nice Vallejo chrome. I've got that dripped into the paint dish. We're going to be able to go ahead and do a little bit of dry brushing on all the surface areas. I want to make sure that I hit everything, including the inside of the fuselage, which probably isn't that important to do because you're really not going to see a lot of it when everything is buttoned up. But that's okay. I just would feel a bit better if we had something going on inside. So let's go ahead and get that dry brushing done, really push through, just get a nice dirty dry brush over the entire cockpit. All right, guys, the dry brushing is completed. I'm going to move on. I really don't know how to weather as well as I would like, so I'm just kind of practicing, playing around with different techniques, and I've come up with an idea that I wanted to go ahead and try, and it's a little bit of a different idea on almost like a sludge wash. So let me go ahead and walk you through what I'm trying to do here. So I've got my basic paint color here, and I'm going to take some AIM weathering powder, some grimy black, and I'm just going to spread it over the entire area. This, of course, is far too dark. So what we're going to do is after I kind of get this kind of blended out and I get a nice even tone on that, we're going to remove a lot of this powder. And we're going to do that with plain old water. I'm just going to go ahead and get a nice little bit of water here on my brush, and I'm just going to start washing this down, kind of spreading it around and hoping that this will actually act almost like a sludge wash or even like an oil wash. It's going to settle in the recesses. It's going to be spread out. It's not going to be too heavy. I can come back and I can wipe it off with a nice clean brush, but I want to go ahead and spread this all around the model to give it a dirtied, used look. I don't know how this is going to turn out 100%, but I'm just going to try it and see what happens. You can kind of see the difference between the powdered version and the non-powdered version, and I like it. I think it looks pretty cool. I've done the exact same thing here on the cockpit floor, so let's go ahead and put these together here just to dry fit them and check this out. Nice. So let's go ahead and do that exact same thing on all the other parts. All right, guys, I like that effect. Again, it's something real quick, real dirty, just some AIM grimy black weathering powder, a little bit of water, wash it all the way down, spread it around with a nice brush, and we are good to go. So we have a bit more detailed painting we need to take care of, and that is the back of the seat. We need to paint this a leather brown. So we've got my Tamiya red brown, and we're going to use that to give it a nice little bit of a leather look to it. But I also plan on looking into maybe some seat belts. I know I've got a couple of images online. I know Edward makes an upgrade kit for this, but I don't want to spend any money. So I might use that as a template and make them out of tape. But we'll probably hit that next episode. We also have to do a little bit of decal work, guys. Right on the front instrument panel, we do have gauge clusters and dials and all those good things here. So we're going to go ahead and cut out the decals, stick those down, and hit them with a little bit of future as well. Lots to do, guys. Let's just keep pushing forward. All right, guys, we went ahead and covered the entire control panel in a future just to go ahead and seal them all in. I'll hit them with a slight dull coat a little bit later. That should tone everything down. Now I'm going to go ahead and install this cockpit into one of the sidewalls. After that is dried, we'll be able to start installing a few extra parts. So we do have to do a little bit of last minute installation here on the cockpit. We have a couple of chairs and some tables we need to go ahead and install. So we're starting here with what I believe to be the radio operator's station. So we're going to glue this bench seat right into the side of the fuselage. And there's just 2 locating pins right there. I got some extra thin on that. We're going to place the chair right there. And looks pretty decent. Let's also move on to the front table. Now the navigator station, which I believe is right behind the pilot, that's going to have a large table. Now the instructions tell you that you can either have it in the stowed position, but you can also have it in the open station. And that's what I'd like to go ahead and replicate. A couple of drops of Tamiya extra thin should do the trick to go ahead and get this table leg area glued in. And then we'll be able to drop a little bit of glue on the sidewall and just press this right down into the side of the cockpit. So let's go ahead and get my tweezers out here. There is one locating pin at the back of the table, so we need to make sure that that lines up with the tab coming out of the fuselage itself. So just drop that right down on top of that. There we are. Yeah, it looks cool. I like it. All right, so that is pretty much ready to go. Let's drop a few more extra drops of cement right on the legs and the bottom of the table right there. Perfect. With that all out of the way, we're going to have to go ahead and make sure this is nice and dried. Then we can come back. We can do a little bit of weathering off camera, get it kind of toned down to match the rest of the cockpit. So every navigator station needs a chair. So we're going to go ahead and put that chair together right here. It's just 2 parts. The square part that fits onto the rails, and then the chair itself that fits onto that square part. Everything looks pretty simple to go ahead and glue in. So I wanted to kind of play with this a little bit and make it look interesting. This station has 2 different seating positions that I've seen. One is facing forward, right next to the pilot. The other is facing to the left, underneath the table, as if he'd be sitting there working on maps. So I'm going to play around with that idea just a little bit. Now, if it can face forward and it can face left, I'm assuming the chair itself can rotate. So we're going to play around with that and rotate it slightly off to the side. And this is what I've come up with. I don't know if this was 100% true, if this would actually be something that the chair could have done, but I like it. It looks like it's capturing some action, as if maybe the navigator had swiveled out of his chair, took a couple steps into the back area. I don't know, but I like this. This looks pretty cool. Whether or not it's true to form, I don't know for sure, but I'm just running with it. By all means, if you guys know of something I don't, please let me know and I can just switch that chair around. But until then, guys, we're just going to leave it as is to add a little bit of extra interest. And now we're going to go ahead and move on to the fuselage itself, installing the right and left panels together, and then dropping that top right down onto the fuselage itself and getting this thing more or less wrapped up. We're going to make sure everything is smooth, everything fits, then we're going to glue everything. Then we'll move on to the wings. So this should be pretty easy to do. Just get that glue out, get this thing together. So while the rest of the fuselage and cockpit are drying, I've decided to move on to the assembly of the wings. Now I can get away with assembling all of these without really much hassle, because I'm not going to really push and do anything extra with it. I'm just going to go ahead and install everything and get the wings set up for next episode. So we're going to go ahead and glue in the main spars and glue in a couple of the parts and pieces like the center walkway, some of the bomb bay area. Just get this thing nice and detailed up. The rest of it's going to be silver, but I have airbrushed last episode the center sections that are going to be that interior green. We do have to worry about the black though, so I might have to do a little bit of masking when I go ahead and install that bomb bay. But let's go ahead and get this thing done, get the wings put together. All right, guys, the wings are finally put together, and these are big wings. For 1/72nd scale, it's pretty big. We have everything glued into place. We have a little bit of tape, though, for a little bit of masking, so I don't hit that center section with black when I come in and paint that Bombay. The side areas for the nacelles, the landing gear bays, are supposed to be silver, if I'm reading the instructions correctly. The fuselage is all together. Everything is drying right now. We're going to have to come back next episode and mask off all of those windows. Otherwise, guys, we are looking sharp for next episode. Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you back here next week on another episode of Ben Builds, where we're going to go ahead and really start getting this thing rolling. So until next time, keep on building, have some fun, and we'll see you back here next week on Ben Builds. Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you soon.